Last night, Ukraine claimed something that, even if partially true, changes the Black Sea story again. A successful underwater drone attack against a Russian improved Kilo class submarine inside Novorossiysk, the very port Russia has treated as its safer fallback after pulling key assets away from Crimea. Here's the disciplined way to look at this without getting played by either side's narrative. Ukraine's security service says a sub-sea baby underwater drone hit the submarine while it was alongside in the naval base. They released video they claim came from compromised security cameras showing an underwater vehicle moving through the harbor and detonating near a moored vessel. Russia's side, through state-linked channels and official messaging, has denied submarine damage. So the core fact pattern is simple. Ukraine is asserting a first-of-its-kind operational success against a submarine in port. Russia is asserting its propaganda, and what independent observers can actually confirm from open sources is more limited than the headlines suggest, because the decisive damage, if it happened, would be below the waterline where satellites and cropped footage won't show it. Now, the part that matters for breakout analysis is not whether the submarine sank. The part that matters is whether Ukraine demonstrated an ability to penetrate a defended harbor and put an explosive charge close enough to a high-value naval platform to mission end it. Use another word, YouTube-friendly, starts with a K, right? Mission K it. And on that question, there are already a few anchors we can treat as more solid. Independent imagery and reporting indicate the port has been fortified specifically against Ukrainian surface drone boats, floating barriers, booms, and other channel controls. If the strike mechanism was underwater, those defenses are largely irrelevant. That's the first strategic point. Russia has been engineering for the last war, the surface drone problem, while Ukraine is iterating toward the next layer. Second, at least some post-event imagery shows damage consistent with an explosion in the vicinity of a pier or waterside infrastructure. That does not prove the submarine was crippled, but it does support the idea that something detonated inside a port area that Russia would prefer the world believe is secure. Third, even if the submarine itself is intact, an underwater explosion close aboard can still produce the outcome that matters operationally. A submarine that can't deploy, can't safely dive, or has to be pulled from the fight for inspection and repair. For a diesel-electric boat that depends on its propulsion train, its steering gear, hydroplanes, quieting measures, not sunk is not the same as combat ready. If you want the cleanest mental model, think in terms of mission K versus headline K, right? Ukraine doesn't need to put a kilo on the seabed to win a strategic point. It needs to make Russian commanders uncertain that their supposed sanctuary ports are actually sanctuaries. And it needs to impose time, friction, and cost on a fleet that already has been pushed out of Crimea by a mix of missiles, sea drones, and persistent pressure. Now zoom out. Why does a kilo matter in the Black Sea? These improved kilo boats have been one of Russia's more survivable strike options, quiet, hard to track, and able to launch caliber cruise missiles. They're also prestige platforms in a theater where Russia's surface fleet has taken repeated hits and has been forced to operate more cautiously. Even rumors of a kilo being compromised in port land differently than another attack on a patrol craft because it signals that Ukraine is willing and able to take on protected assets and that the traditional assumptions about underwater sanctuary are eroding. What we can say confidently right now is that the psychological and operational effect is already achieved to some degree. If you're a Russian naval commander, you now have to assume that underwater approaches to your piers may be contested. That means more patrols, more sensors, more divers, more barriers, more downtime, more force protection procedures. And all of that is opportunity cost. It's manpower and resources not being spent on generating combat power. For Ukraine, that's the whole logic of asymmetric maritime warfare. You don't match tonnage. You can't. You impose uncertainty and raise the cost of operating. Now, let's handle the how could this happen question, right? That piece in a way that's grounded and not over dramatic. Harbors are complicated environments. Acoustic conditions are messy. Currents are inconsistent. There's constant civilian maritime noise in and around major ports. If you're defending against a fast surface drone, you build visible obstacles and you watch the waterline. Defending against a slow, low signature underwater vehicle is harder. You need layered sensing, trained response, and rules of engagement that let you act quickly without shutting down your own port's activity. And Novorossiysk isn't just a naval base, it's a major commercial node with oil infrastructure nearby. It's exactly the kind of environment where defenders face trade-offs between security and keeping the port functioning. If Ukraine can get even one underwater vehicle into that space and detonate, Russia either has a real vulnerability or it has a rules and procedures problem, or both. Here's the next critical distinction to keep this very analytical. We can assess likely consequences without pretending we know the precise damage. Russia's denial is predictable. And maybe Ukraine's success claim is also predictable. The truth may be somewhere in between. It's entirely possible that the explosion damaged not maybe only pier infrastructure. It's also entirely possible it damaged the sub's stern gear, control surfaces, or sensors in a way that's not visible from above and not something Russia wants to show. The behavior to watch over the next several days is not the propaganda. It's whether the submarine remains alongside, whether there are signs of towing, dry dock preparation, unusual security measures, or extended inactivity. Operational patterns are harder to fake over time than a single cropped video clip. Now put Novorossiysk in the larger Black Sea arc. Russia moved assets there because Crimea became increasingly hazardous. The shift was in and of itself an admission that Ukraine's strike reach and maritime innovation were forcing strategic repositioning. So if Ukraine is now credibly threatening Novorossiysk, the Black Sea fleet has fewer safe options. It can disperse, but I suppose dispersion reduces concentrated combat power. It can harden, but again, hardening consumes resources and still may not solve underwater approaches. So it can push more assets further east or behind additional layers of defense, but that concedes operational freedom. That's why this story has real interesting and breakout potential here for what's to come. It's not just another attack. It's an argument that the map of sanctuary is shrinking for Russia in the Black Sea. And there's a second order effect that makes matters beyond this one theater, one operational area. Underwater drones aren't just a Ukraine story. If an actor can demonstrate practical, repeatable underwater interdiction in a port environment, navies everywhere pay attention. The surface drone lesson here of the Black Sea is already exportable. An underwater drone lesson is even more disruptive because it pressures the assumptions that ports and anchorages are inherently controllable spaces. That doesn't mean every harbor on Earth is suddenly vulnerable today or tomorrow, but it means the cost curve is moving. Attackers, whoever they are, can buy capability for far less money, time, and effort than defenders can buy certainty. That's the strategic imbalance Ukraine has been exploiting again and again. So I'll consider closing here with a clean bottom line. separating what's confirmed from what we can assess. Confirmed. Ukraine claims an underwater drone strike against a Kilo-class submarine in Novorossiysk and released a video to support the claim. Russia denies the submarine was damaged. Open reporting, the imagery that we've all seen, indicates the port has been fortified against surface drones and that some damage consistent with an internal port blast is visible around the waterside area. So, an honest assessment. Even without a confirmed sinking, a successful detonation close aboard a submarine can be operationally decisive, and the mere demonstration of underwater drone penetration forces Russia to spend resources and accept uncertainty in what it treated as a safer harbor. And to be fair, we have unknowns. The true damage state of the submarine, the repeatability of the method, and whether Russia adapts quickly with layered underwater defenses or remains vulnerable to follow-up and follow-on attempts. That's a story to watch, not just the claims, but the operational behavior that follows. Thanks for a couple of minutes, and I'll see you soon.